All right. Looks like I got both recording now. And do you need more audio, or can you hear yourself good enough, or what do you think?
Good enough.
I think I have just about everything ready to go here. She's got herself figured out, right?
Well, yep.
So we know this is definitely working, and you can hear yourself loud enough.
Yep.
You can hear me too, obviously.
Yep.
Okay. Today is the 17th of October, Saturday, 2020. Since the ceasefire agreement in 1953, over 1,500 American soldiers have died, still fighting the war that's never been declared and has never ended. South Korea today is a vibrant, beautiful, free nation thanks to the sacrifice of some extraordinary men. Today, I want to welcome you, a very extraordinary man, Ernie Hoelscher. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
I wanted to start off with, were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was drafted, yep.
You were drafted in, huh?
Yep.
Do you remember what year?
It was in 1952.
1952. How old was you when you got drafted? Do you remember?
About 20 years old.
20 years old, 1952, and you got drafted in. Boy, I bet that was pretty emotional for a young man.
It was, yep.
A lot going through your brain.
You bet.
Do you remember where you were living at the time?
I was out the farm.
The farm here in
In Ward County out here.
Ward County, North Dakota. So not far. You still haven't went very far, other than
Nope.
halfway around the world.
You're right, yep.
Let's see here. I was gonna say, why did you join? But you didn't have a choice.
No, I didn't have a choice, no.
You were drafted.
Yep.
Why did you pick the service branch you did? But you didn't have a choice.
They didn't have a choice there either, no.
When they drafted you to whatever branch.
That's right.
What branch did you serve in?
Army.
Army. Okay. Do you remember the first days of service?
Well, the first day of service, they shipped us to, in Illinois, Fort Sheridan, Illinois. And there they processed us in. The next day, they loaded us all up and sent us down to Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
There we took our basic, yep.
Where all the gold is.
Yep.
What were the emotions you had the day that you were down there during boot camp? I guess it wasn't a day. It's probably weeks and months.
Well, it was really going when we got there. They told everybody we started out with 400 men. And they said, we're going to separate the men from the boys the time we're done. And we graduated 195 men. So they did separate the men from the boys.
195 out of 400. Just over half didn't make it.
Yep.
Man.
It was rough training. They really poured it on, yeah. When you would come in at night, your shoes were all wet and muddy. That pair of boots had to be standing tall under the bed before you went out the next morning. Don't matter how long it took you to get that boots polished, they had to be shined under the bed. You wore the next pair out.
Yeah, because you got two pair, right?
Yep.
One you wore every other day.
Yeah.
So you were one of the men.
That was one of the men, yeah.
Tough. Let's see here. Can you tell me about your boot camp training experiences?
Well, boot camp, We was training one night out in the field, and it started snowing down there in Fort Knox. They finally got so bad they had to bring us back in, give us a little break, but then the barracks we moved into wasn't used since the Second World War. And we had to clean this barracks up. We had to clean the floor, mop it, and clean the barracks up. All the men had to do that. And so we cleaned that barracks up. But then we had it clean, and we kept it that way. It had to be swept and cleaned every day, and it was up to us to keep our rooms clean. It was just a big barracks, just one big room.
Yeah.
And we were double decks, and my bunk buddy name was Holland, and that's the way it went. We all went by alphabetically way of you was bunks, and that's the way it went. So that's the way it went. We went training. We went through the I can't think of the name right now, but we went through there where they had to mine the blowing up and crawling under fences and infiltration and all that, and we had to learn everything that we do. We filmized this with every rifle up to the 30 caliber machine gun, and we had to know all that, how to put one together in the dark. We had to.
Yeah, blindfolded and everything, huh?
Yeah.
What about your instructors? Do you remember any of them?
Oh, they were pretty tough. You bet. You didn't goof up. If you goofed up, you'd get down and count them out about 10 or 15 or 20,
So how many times did you mess up?
Quite a few.
Had to do quite a bit, didn't you?
You bet.
What about how were your emotions getting through boot camp?
Well, you had to two choices: either get through or get booted out, one or the other.
And you made it, so.
I made it, yeah.
Well, is there anything else you think about the beginning that I didn't ask that maybe you think you might want to bring up?
Not there. The boot camp, I made it through pretty good, I would say. So.
Okay. Do you remember where you first went when you got there to Korea?
Well, I meant the first. We got there in Incheon. We boarded an old train, and it was worse than a cow train. We just no heat, nothing in it, and they took us up there, and somebody had to guard all the doors. And we got up there, where the company commanders came and picked their men, and our company was Lieutenant Hunt. He come up there early that morning, and he handpicked all his men. And he picked me, for some reason.
And he knew you?
Pardon?
Did he know you?
No.
So he just picked you?
I want you, son. So we're up there, and we went up to Charlie Company. Charlie Company, yep. And we went right straight north of Seoul. And I was on the 30th parallel the whole time I was there.
So from the beginning to the end, you was right on the 38th parallel.
That's right, yeah.
And do you remember what time in the war that was?
That was in March of '53.
And that was obviously after all the troops have got pushed back down to the 30th parallel, because before that, American troops were all the way clear up into North Korea, all the way up against, what is that, Russia?
Yeah, China. Yeah.
Yeah, they were all the way up, so then they got pushed back down.
Yeah.
So you must have showed up right when that happened.
Just about, yeah.
And your job was to probably just hold the 38th parallel.
Yeah.
What was your job or assignment when you got there? Obviously to hold the 38th parallel, right?
I was a rifleman, and the first hill they put us on was Dale Outpost, was an outpost. The first 2 nights went pretty good, but the third night, they really clobbered us. We was only 3 of us left the next morning out of 40.
3 out of 40?
Yes. they gave me a bandolier this way, a bandolier this way. My cartridge belt was full, 6 grenades hanging up here, and they sent me out on a spot all by myself, out there, on the point. And I started in, that was a trench. I'd run up and down. I'd come up and shoot 8 rounds, duck down. They'd shoot, and I'd put in another round cup. Kept on all night long, and I burnt the rifling out of that rifle that night. And I came in the next morning, and I had a burned out rifle and 3 clips left.
Jeez.
And I walked up to the hill, and I couldn't find anybody. I left 39 men up there. So I walked around in front of where we came in. I said, where the hell's everybody at? 2 guys came out of the bunker, and they said, is that you, Hoelscher? I said, yeah. Who the hell you think it was? And he said, oh, we'd have checked on you too, but we thought you were dead too. So they sent up another platoon after that and took us back. We had to get another whole bunch of another platoon, and then go back out again.
So that was your first experience there?
My first experience on the hill, yep.
Jeez, that's crazy. That's a lot they just threw you right into as a young man.
You bet, yeah, yeah.
But apparently the rest were young men too.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Or if you was a little bit scared to use that rifle, you wasn't going to make it. So.
Well, what about that first day there? The next morning, when they said they would have checked on you, but they didn't. They thought you were dead too.
Yeah.
What were your emotions when they said that?
Well, I thought, well, that could easily happen.
You kind of didn't blame them, did you?
Oh, no, because they had their job to do too. So.
Okay. In your unit, do you remember how many casualties they were other than just the first night? But I guess your unit, that was probably your unit the first night, but after that, they probably gave you another unit later on, or?
No, I was this Charlie company the whole time through.
Okay, I guess I really don't understand.
We go back ever so often and get new men to make up our platoon and go back out again.
I got you. So the unit would have just been made up every single day different. So you may have not got to serve with the same people that you served with the previous night.
Yeah. They probably have all dead now, and I just
get a whole new group of men to work with.
Yeah.
And you trust them just as much as you trusted the last group that didn't make it through the night before.
You didn't have any other choice.
You had to, yeah. Jeez, that's crazy. What about your most memorable experiences?
Well, my most memorable experience was when we was taking a hill that one day, and there was 3 people to my right. And the enemy was shelling this as we coming up. First shell came in and just blew this guy just all to hell. Second guy, they blew him to hell. The guy right next to me, the big shell hit him, and I just got splattered with blood and guts. And I wiped it off of my face, and I lost it. I got down on all 4, and I just heaved. The platoon sergeant said, get up and get moving. You'll get used to this if you live long enough. So I wore that uniform for damn near 2 weeks before I could get back and get clean clothes again. So.
Jeez, that was your most memorable, huh?
Yeah.
What about, did you ever become a POW, or did you know anybody that did become a POW?
No.
You got through it? You don't remember none of the people you were with ended up as POWs either?
Nope.
That probably all happened when the American troops got pushed back down.
But we found out that if you go out there and think you're going to get captured, you might as well go down fighting, because they'll just shoot you anyway. So
yeah, it wouldn't be a very, very good life after they do catch you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Were you ever awarded any medals or citations?
No.
Well, you got medals over here, but no.
But I got them after I got home.
I got you. You didn't get them well.
They lost all of my records because they couldn't even pay me when I got home.
Do you remember what year it was they lost all your records?
That was in, what was in 53.
When they lost everything.
Yeah,
So in other words, you didn't even exist to the government.
that's right.
You were there on the front lines, night after night, come home to not even exist, according to them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Were you ever part of planning?
Planning?
Yeah, you never planned nothing. You were never that high up.
Nope, I was a corporal. I had the 2nd Squad and 2nd Platoon.
Okay. What about? Did you sustain any injuries?
Well, that's part of being a... Something is, I brought all my men back. I had to haul a few back, but we got them back. But sometimes, we were over there and the lieutenants were dumber than we were, of all their learning. He took a squad of men out, led them up an enemy hill, and the whole works got killed. I could take a squad of men out and bring them back with 8th grade education. I didn't need all that. And ask them why. And they said, Hoelscher, you're never lost over here. You always know where you're at. So that's part I had over most of them.
Well, as far as those experiences go, you think there's anything I may have forgot while you were there fighting battle?
Well, it's just, you just hope you made the right move and the right judgment,
So you was there almost a year, weren't you?
13 and a half months.
13 and a half months, just over a year. Man, so how long was boot camp training?
16 weeks.
16 weeks of that. Then you went right over. Did you fly or did you sail or whatever, ride a boat? How'd you get there?
Oh, we shipped us over. There's 4,000 men above this ship plus the crew.
Yep.
And we had 2 submarine escorts all the way over there.
Wow. Crazy. Wasn't very fun when you got there. 13 and a half months.
Yeah.
That's quite some time.
It is, yeah.
Lost a lot of men over there.
Oh, boy.
In 3 years, I think it was 40,000 men in 3 years.
Yeah.
And to this day, there's still thousands that have never been accounted for.
That's right.
We don't know if there's still POWs or if what happened. Still to this day, don't even know what happened to them.
No. One time we was on this hill, the shells were coming in, and this bunker fell in on this guy. And there was a shovel there, and I dug until I found his feet. And there was a big 12 by 12 timber laying right on his head. And I got between his legs and I had to pull this way and that way, and I got him out. And a little blood ran out of it. So I scraped the dirt off his face and grabbed him by his neck. And I started pushing air into him. And on the third, I was getting ready for the 4th one, and he started breathing. And I had to get somebody else, and we was going to haul him down to a Jeep that was down below there. And the big shell hit the helmet, came down and nailed my left boot right to the ground. And we set him down, and I had to knock that piece of shrapnel about that long. And found some commo wire to tie the boot on. Picked him up and headed for this Jeep. Before we got to the Jeep, a big shell came in and blew the Jeep all to heck. And so we took him up on the hill where the driver was sitting, and he had to go back in and call for help and get another Jeep. And then when I went up hill, I took bullets in the back myself. And I laid there and spitting blood by the mouthful. I thought I was just going to lay there and bleed to death. And finally it started slowing up, and the medic, he came by and poured iodine on it, put a patch and taped it down. Laid there for a while, and here come a lieutenant along, and he said, "How bad are you hurt?" I said, "I'm wounded like everybody else." He said, "Well, I need help to haul the dead and wounded off this hill." So I could still stand up yet, so I started in, and once in a while I'd drop to my knees because I just was a little short of blood yet. And I got by, but that's all that came of that. I never got a medal or nothing for that either, so.
Pretty crazy way to do medicine over there. And
Oh, yeah.
just pour some iodine on it and tape it shut,
Yep,
and that's good, huh?
yep.
Let's see here. I got some more questions. What emotions did you have on the front line?
Well, I was just, at times when you'd haul them down, you'd look at that body laying there and say, well, one of these days somebody's going to do that for me.
Be carrying you out of there.
Yeah.
You just kind of assumed that's the way it was going to be.
That's the way of life. That's the way the life was. You're here today and go tomorrow, yeah.
Oh yeah, life's precious. You're not guaranteed tomorrow.
No.
So you just did everything you could
Yep.
for your country. Truly extraordinary. Let's see. How did you stay in touch with family while you were over there for 13 and a half months?
Well, if I had time, I'd write a letter, but sometimes it was 2 or 3 weeks before I could write one because we were so damn busy fighting. I spent 2 weeks on Old Pork Chop Hill, and they'd come at you by the thousand. And we'd throw white phosphorus, napalm, grenades, shoot them. Some mornings they were laying 2 and 3 deep out there in front of you. We called in trucks. And they'd load them up, and the bulldozer was working a big ditch out back there. We'd put him in there, and he'd push the dirt back over the top of it.
I still got all his letters.
Go ahead. I turned your microphone up. Go ahead. What?
I still got all his letters.
Oh, that he wrote you while he was over there? How many? Do you remember how many?
No.
No? You just know he wrote you.
And then I spent a night on a hill while Baker Company was going on a patrol one night. They went out and didn't come back. So about 400 of us saddled up, and one day in the afternoon we was going to go check what happened to them. We called the artillery, we called the Air Force. We went out there and we found them with their hands tied behind their backs, and they were all shot. So we loaded them on jeeps and stuff and sent them back. And we walked back, and we got back about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Here come about 500 of them up our hill. So we, broad daylight, we took care of them pretty good. That night, we looked down and they were coming up that hill like ants, just thousands of them. And so the company commander said, everybody go in a bunker, plug your holes, and stay down. So the moon was shining, and we look out and we just see that whole hill crawling with enemy. Pretty soon they opened up with artillery. They put those airbursts on that hill. They just nailed that hill. The next morning when we finally came out, we called in 4 trucks, called Baker Company to come and help us load them out. And the bulldozer had a big ditch there, and we filled that with people. He put 3 feet of dirt on top of them, and then he put another layer of men on top of that yet. So that's the way my life went, was over there. But how I made it, I'll never know.
But you did make it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What was the food like?
Well, the food, we ate World War II stuff sometimes on assault rations when the kitchen couldn't keep up with us. It was just in a can, and the chocolate was turning white and stuff like that already. Open the can, and you ate it because you was hungry. And on average, we'd get breakfast about 5 or 6 in the morning. And then we get salt rations for dinner. 4 o'clock was supper. and then we'd get a good supper. But means we didn't get much sleep. They fed a high protein food.
Did you guys have plenty of supplies?
Oh yeah. Once in a while, they'd send us back to Seoul to get a truckload of ammunition. But then when we got it there, the hill was up there. They'd put about 100 pounds or so on your back, and you carry it up there.
Yeah, because you had to get it up to the guys up on the hill.
Yeah.
In order for them to use it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Was there anything special? You did for good luck?
No, just try to stay alive.
That was it. Just every day.
Yeah.
Do your best to stay alive.
Yeah.
How did people entertain themselves, or was there people there that entertained?
No. Once in a while, when we was back in blocking, USO shows were there. They'd take us to a USO show. But then let's see. Roy Acuff was over there at one time.
Roy Ake?
Acuff, yeah.
Roy, I'm going to write this down. Acuff, okay?
Yeah, he was there, and we went to one of his shows.
A singer?
Yeah, and the Red Cross, I'll admit, got everybody so ticked off at the Red Cross over there that they would come right up the hill and serve donuts and coffee, and then when they had a collection plate, they wanted money in it from us. Yeah. So we thought, we're up here trying to stay alive, and then you want money from us yet? That kind of cooked us for Red Cross.
Nobody was happy with that.
No.
Well, I also know there was a lot of people during that time that, like singers and songwriters, that were writing protests against the whole war, the Korean War and everything, too.
Yeah, that could have been.
Yep.
We didn't hear nothing about that.
Yeah, I was looking up earlier, watching a video, and I guess Willie Nelson had a friend that went to the Korean War and died.
Oh, did?
And he said he only wrote one out of the whole entire war. He only wrote one song that was protesting the war, but yeah, it made him sad enough that I guess he wrote a song about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Do you recall any humorous or unusual events?
Well, one night we was on this hill, and we had this bunker. When we'd get overrun, we'd go up in this bunker, see, and so they couldn't get us. And the enemy would go by and shoot this up there in this bunker. And it was getting kind of irritated, so we got an M2 carbine in here? And they said, yeah, and I said, load her up, I'm going out there. And the old first sergeant, he was a big boozer, and I only weighed about 120 pounds then. He grabbed me and he shook me like that, and he said, get over there and sit down and behave yourself. Stay out of trouble. So I did. When you haven't had any sleep for about a week, sat down again, and I was gone. And about 5 o'clock or so, I don't remember that, but another company came and run the enemy off. They didn't miss me. They all went down for breakfast. Now about 4 o'clock supper time, everybody was looking for me. And I heard somebody hollering, and I thought he was way out there. And I woke up and I said, yeah. And he said, where the hell you been? We've been looking all over this hill for you. I said, I was right here. This first sergeant told me to go over here and sit down and behave myself. That's just what I did. And so that day, that night I went down to the supper, and the cooks were short-handed, so I helped the cooks out. And then here comes the sergeant again. He said, get it back on the hill. We're going on an ambush patrol tonight, and I'm putting you in point, because you're damn goofing off. So I said, well, it's my night to get her, let's go. Cleaned my weapon, and we went out. We went way out there in Chink Land, and nothing happened. We came back in, and I sat down, I sent the rest of the bunch in ahead of me, and I sat down. I was tired. Here comes the old sergeant, and he said, "What are you doing back here?" I said, "Well, Sergeant," I said, "I figure I did a pretty good job last night, didn't I?" And he said, "How's that?" And I said, "Well, the other night you told me to go over there and sit down, behave myself and stay out of trouble. Then last night I took all you guys out, brought you all back, and I kept everybody out of trouble, didn't I?" And he said, "Hoelscher, why don't you just go to hell?"
That's funny. So did he treat you better after that?
No, me and him never did get along.
No, never did.
Eventually, after being there 13 and a half months, I walked up to him one night and I said, "If I catch you out here tonight, I'm going to shoot you." They didn't ask me to stand guard that night. The next morning, they said, the orderly came over and said, "Report to the orderly room." So I did, and he said, "Lay your helmet down, your rifle, all the ammunition you got." And I said, "Well, was that something I did yesterday?" And he said, "No." He said, "You got combat fatigue." He said, "You've been here too damn long already. We got to get you out of here before you shoot somebody," he said. So.
Well, I would ask you if you have any photographs, video, letters, memorabilia, but you do have some over here on the table, and I guess we kind of already went through that, but I'll play that at the end of this deal.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you now, or did you keep a personal journal?
No, I did not. No.
No, didn't bother you at all.
No.
Okay, well, as far as
you wasn't allowed even to do that on the front lines because if the enemy got a hold on it.
That's right. Yep, it would be a mess. I guess that makes sense. So as far as actual combat and stuff, are there any questions that I maybe didn't ask that you want to?
Well, actual combat, where we'd sit down, on the hill up, we would we was listening posts down below the hill in case there was an attack coming, we'd notify the hill. And so there was a few guys got punched with bayonets and stuff like that, and they went back down and all that stuff, but it was just part of the battle. It had to, and sometimes we went in, and that we put a sand sack over this helmet so it wouldn't glitter in the moonlight. You come in the next morning and it was all ripped up from bullets bouncing off of your damn steel helmet.
Yep.
So, that's
just the way it is.
the way it was, yep.
What about, do you recall the last day of your service? Or do you recall the day your service ended, I mean?
Well, yeah, when finally that day they called the ceasefire, we could stand here and look down, and the enemy was all sitting like a bunch of gophers coming out of their holes. And it made me wonder, sometimes we'd run a patrol out there, how come they didn't know we was out there? I mean, I'm sure they did. But they lived like gophers in the holes, They'd just come out of holes all over the place. It's just all over.
Let's see, what did you do in the days and weeks afterwards?
Well, they shipped us home. And when we got over here, we was on the ship yet, and I got noticed that my mother had died. And they had to get me out of there and get me on a plane and get me home.
Right away.
Yep. And then from there on, I went back down to Colorado. And we went mountain climbing for 3 months before I got out. I figure some guys, they let them out early, but how come they wouldn't let me out? I had to put every day of mine in. And so I, like I said, I put Oh, well, my 2 years were all in when they let me home.
When you went to Colorado, you went to that Colorado Springs?
Yep.
Yeah, that.
Yeah,
I forget the name of it. Military base down there.
yeah.
That's pretty sad your mom passed away while you were over there.
Yeah.
Jeez. Did you make any close friends while you were in the service?
Well, that's one thing you didn't want to do.
Don't want to make friends with anybody there?
No, because, if you make close friends, tomorrow he gets killed, and then you feel real bad about it. So you just in there, and you don't make friends with nobody. Basically you're just a piece of government property. So's he. Who cares? Yeah.
Let's do what we got to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Try to stay alive.
Yeah.
What about now? Do you have any friends that you've made that, since then? Have you?
Oh, yeah, I got the neighbors now. We come around. They always want me to stop in and have a beer with them and stuff like that, yeah.
Okay. Did you continue? Let's see here. What is the GI Bill, and was you able to take part of it?
Well, the GI Bill, I tell you what, it took me, I suppose, 30, 40 years before I get anything out of it. Means I didn't have no records. And I had to fight with them by everything I got.
So it's basically worthless to you.
But now they found those 2 Bronze Stars, that 2 big battles I was in, and I'm getting 60% now, disability.
60% disability.
Yeah.
What did you go on to do as a career after the war?
I went to farming.
Farming.
Yeah.
Just a regular old farmer.
Yep. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
At least it kept you busy
It
and
did.
occupied.
It did. Yeah.
Which is, I guess, a lot of problems. Some people don't get to stay busy and occupied after war, and it kind of drives them crazy.
Yep.
So you were definitely able to stay busy if you were a farmer.
Yeah.
What about rancher? No? Just
Oh,
farmer?
yeah. Got a dairy herd.
Dairy herd, too. Yeah, that's a lot of work. If you were ranching and farming, you were busy.
Yeah. And I tell you, one time, we was on this hill. They started shelling us that night. They shelled us all night, all the next day. And they ceasefire here, and we'd have to be there, and we'd run. And ceasefire over there, we'd have to run. And they finally quit after 24 hours of shelling that hill. And then they brought us in a whole new bunch of men, and they said, "You guys come on back." They had supper ready for us. We couldn't eat or drink or nothing for 24 hours. We were just going. And they had bunks for us, and that was the first bunk we laid in, I think, for damn near 6 months. We could sleep standing up. We were so damn tired,
I bet.
And they gave us all we could eat or drink, and then they went us to bed. They didn't bother us at all the next day. We got that night again, and then the next day we was all back on a hill again. So.
Did your military experiences influence your thinking about the military or government in general?
Well, that part, I don't know, the way they lose records and stuff like that makes me wonder how they even can take care of their own business, So.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Korean War either. World War II, they lost a bunch of records. And even more recent, they lost all kinds of records. Just here recently, I remember they lost all kinds of records again.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the buildings spontaneously combust.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
It seems to happen a lot.
But if we'd do that, we'd get in trouble,
That's right, yeah. Even your taxes.
Yeah.
If you burn them before 7 years, boy, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yet they can burn decades and decades worth of records and never nothing.
Then I've been trying to get 2 Purple Hearts for the bullets I had in the back and catching malaria. wrote to old John Hoven, and he wrote back a couple times and said, "Don't write back. I don't want to hear from him again." So, them guys them draft dodgers do that to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care much for Hovind. That's crazy. What? Pretty sad he can't just at least attempt to stand by you.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. As far as veteran stuff, like the American Legion is here for veterans stuff after the war, are there any other? Is the American Legion the only veteran organization that you're a part of?
No, I belong to the VFW and the DVI, or Disabled American Veterans. I belong to that one too. So,
do you, or did you attend any of the reunions? Like reunions for veterans?
No.
Okay, and then as far as funerals and stuff, how many of them did you attend? As far like for veterans to help out veteran funerals and whatnot?
300. Oh, 300. That plat I got there.
Yep, and I'll play that later too.
Yeah.
But okay, that was just a question I wrote down before we saw that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was with the club here for 6 years that I took part in.
6 years of funerals, veteran funerals.
Yeah.
How did this entire experience affect your life?
Well, the clubs, Legion and all of them impressed me quite a bit. Yeah. Because I was part of it. And I was proud of it. So.
That's good. Anything you'd like to add that I forgot to cover in this interview?
No, I guess that's about it. There's some things I would like to forget, but I can't. Put it that way.
Yeah. What about you? Is there anything that you want to add?
No.
No? Okay. Well, thank you thanks for doing the interview, and
All right.
thanks for Milo for letting us do it. All right.
Okay.
I guess we're good. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for doing it.
All right.
You can go anywhere that you wanna go, baby. 'Cause the sky is the limit. Put your fears to the side. Use your wings and fly safely from beginning to end. Yeah.
So what are these ones here?
These are my medals.
Okay.
Says all right to make it.
Sweet. Want to say hi? So he brought his stuff in here to show us. This is from the American Legion. To him.
I attended that many funerals.
300 funerals performed. And this right here is Milo. Milo's over here saying stuff.
Yeah.
Then we got Ernie here in the middle.
Yeah.
And he's right here with us today.
Yeah.
And this same exact one is actually
That's that one up there, yeah.
up on the wall here in the Legion. For everybody when they walk in, they can see. And it looks like we got a hat over here.
Yep, that's my hat I wore all the time, yep.
Beautiful. What's this one?
That one we flew over there. And this, all of us from the United States here.
Everybody in that photo's from the U.S.?
Yeah. Yep.
And you know all of these guys?
Well, not all of them, but
Most.
some we picked up along the way.
Most of them.
And this picture here, it was everybody. There was 6 busloads that we picked up. Beds were there. And here, they took us to a big cemetery. It was 24 nations helped North Korea, South Korea out. And so there was 24 plots in this cemetery for every nation that helped them out.
Okay.
And we give everybody a rose. When we got there, there was a whole bunch of kids. Shake your hand when you come in, and the parents were there. Shake their hands. You go up in there and sit down, and they played the national anthem for every nation that was there.
23 of them.
Yep. And then they give us a big gun salute. And then they turned to give everybody a rose to put on whatever nation it was from. We went to the United States and put our roses on that grade. And then the roses were still blooming when we got there. And I can tell you, they showed us the right time. They didn't cost, once we were there, didn't cost us a nickel. We just bussed us around, gave us the best hotels, smorgasbord 3 times a day, and they took good care of us.
And this is a couple years ago when you went back, right?
Yep, about 2 years ago, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Wow. Beautiful.